be upon you, and may God's mercy and blessings be upon you. Hello everyone. My name is Sinta Permadasari with student ID number 224111045. On this occasion, I will present a topic titled Tourism in Perspective and the Historical Development of Travel and Tourism. What is tourism? Tourism is an important sector that plays a major role in the economic, social, and cultural development of a country. Tourism activities are not only related to recreational activities, but also include aspects of education, culture, and international relations. In a global context, tourism has become a complex social and economic phenomenon because it involves interactions between tourists, local communities, governments, and the private sector. Therefore, understanding tourism from a conceptual and historical perspective is important in order to see how this industry has developed and influenced human life over time. Tourism perspective. Goeldner and Ritchie 2020 explain that tourism needs to be understood from three main dimensions, namely principles, practices, and philosophies. In terms of principles, tourism involves various important components such as tourists, attractions, transportation, accommodation, and supporting services. In terms of practices, tourism encompasses operational activities involving destination planning, tourism marketing, and visitor experience management. In terms of philosophy, tourism embodies values such as sustainability, social responsibility, and a balance between tourist needs and environmental conservation. Thus, modern tourism is not only oriented toward economic profit, but must also consider its impact on society and nature. History and development of tourism. Travel and tourism have a long history that has developed alongside human civilization. In ancient times, travel was undertaken for the purposes of trade, warfare, or pilgrimage to holy sites. For example, the ancient Egyptians and Romans were familiar with the concept of recreational travel, visiting historical sites and public baths. Entering the 17th century, the Grand Tour phenomenon emerged in Europe, which was a journey undertaken by young aristocrats to broaden their cultural and educational horizons. The Grand Tour became the forerunner of modern tourism because it began to emphasize the aspects of experience and learning during the trip. The Industrial Revolution era and the emergence of modern tourism. Tourism developed rapidly during the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. Technological innovations such as trains, steamboats, and later airplanes made travel faster, safer, and more affordable. It was also during this period that the world's first travel agency, Thomas Cook & Son, emerged, introducing the concept of organized tour packages. Through this approach, tourism began to transform into a structured industry accessible to the general public, not just the elite. The 20th century marked a significant milestone for the growth of mass tourism, particularly after World War II, when improved economic well-being and increased leisure time encouraged more people to travel for leisure. Contemporary challenges and trends in tourism. In the era of globalization and digitalization, tourism faces new challenges such as the demand for sustainable tourism that balances economic, social, and environmental aspects. This concept emphasizes the importance of preserving nature and local culture for future generations. In addition, advances in digital technology are changing the way travelers plan their trips through online platforms and social media. The latest trends, such as experiential and community-based tourism, are also gaining popularity because they offer direct interaction and authentic experiences at tourist destinations. Conclusion. Overall, tourism has evolved from a simple travel activity into a global phenomenon that has a broad impact on social and economic life. The perspective put forward by Goeldner and Ritchie 2020 helps us understand that tourism is a complex, dynamic, and interconnected system between tourists, industry, and the environment. Its long history shows that the development of tourism has always followed changes in the times, technology, and human needs. Therefore, understanding tourism from a historical and philosophical perspective helps us build a more responsible, sustainable, and beneficial future for all.
What does it truly mean to travel? It is more than just packing a bag and leaving your home behind. It is a deep human desire to see what lies beyond the horizon, to connect with people, and to connect with places that are different from our own. Tourism is the beautiful expression of this desire. It is the story of how we, as a people, have moved across the world for centuries, driven by faith, driven by curiosity, driven by the need to learn, driven by the simple, powerful joy of discovery. This is a story about connection, about how the simple act of moving from one place to another has shaped our world and has shaped us. We are going to walk through time from the very first footsteps on a dusty trail to the digital pathways that guide us today. Long before we had guidebooks or travel agents, the world was already in motion. In ancient times, travel was born from necessity and faith. Great civilizations like the Romans built incredible networks of roads, not for holidays, but for their armies and for trade. Yet these very roads made it possible for ordinary people to journey to new places. Merchants traveled vast distances along routes like the Silk Road, carrying not just spices and fabrics, but also stories, ideas, and beliefs. These early travelers were the first connectors, weaving a tapestry of shared culture across continents. Travel was slow, it was dangerous, and it was reserved for the very few who had a compelling reason. Then came the age of pilgrimage, a powerful force that moved millions. Along these routes, a basic infrastructure for travelers began to form. Everything changed with the arrival of the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s. This was an era of incredible invention, and nothing transformed the world quite like the power of steam. Suddenly, the steam engine gave us the railway, a magnificent iron horse that could thunder across the land at speeds previously unimaginable. What once took days by coach could now be hours. The rhythmic chugging was the sound of a new world opening up. It shrank distances, connecting cities, towns, countrysides in ways never seen before. The impact was immediate and profound. It wasn't just faster, it was cheaper and more reliable. Travel was no longer the exclusive domain of the rich. For the first time, the growing middle class could afford to take a trip. They could escape the smoke for a day at the seaside or a weekend in the country. Visionaries like Thomas Cook saw the opportunity, and in 1841 organized the first advertised railway excursion, inventing the package tour. As steam conquered land, it mastered the seas. Grand steamships replaced unpredictable clippers, crossing the Atlantic on fixed schedules. This reliability transformed travel and immigration for millions. It birthed the pleasure cruise, voyage as part of the holiday. Hotels rose by stations, guidebooks told people where to go and what to see. If the 19th century belonged to the train and the ship, the 20th belonged to the airplane. The dream of flight, as old as humanity, finally became reality for the public. Jets like the Comet and the Boeing 707 changed everything. They flew higher and faster, above the weather, smooth, swift, and awe-inspiring. The jet age had arrived, about to shrink our planet. 5 days by liner became under 8 hours by jet. Continents once far apart were now a meal and a movie away. Destinations in Asia, Africa, and South America became accessible. Through the 60s and 70s, costs fell dramatically. Wide-body jets carried more people, lowering ticket prices. Charters and all-inclusive packages exploded. Mass tourism was born. Beach holidays became affordable for millions. Tourism became a global industry, creating jobs across sectors. It fostered cultural exchange at a new scale, but growth brought challenges, environmental impact, and overcrowding. Still, the jet age fulfilled a deep desire to see the world, proving we are closer than we imagined. Just when travel seemed as accessible as ever, the internet arrived. In the 90s and 2000s, the digital age put a travel agent in our hands. We could compare hundreds of flights in an instant, browse hotels, see rooms, and read real reviews. Planning shifted from experts to everyone, anytime. We mixed and matched to create unique itineraries. Then the smartphone put a world of travel info in our pockets. Navigate cities, translate menus, and book last-minute tours on the spot. Social media and reviews became the new word of mouth. A single post could transform a place. Small businesses could thrive. Travel became more personal, more social, and more diverse. Our world is more connected than ever before. From early merchants to millions who now fly, we seek to explore, learn, and connect. With privilege comes responsibility. Our presence can strain places we love. A necessary shift, sustainable, responsible travel. Traveling with heart means supporting communities and respecting traditions. Choosing eco-friendly stays that conserve resources. Slowing down and treading lightly. Seeking authentic connections not just checklists. As we look to the future, this is our shared path forward. Technology will evolve, but the most important trend is conscious, heartfelt travel. The story of tourism is far from over. It is a living story we are writing together with every trip we take. Let us choose to write a beautiful chapter, one filled with curiosity, with kindness, and with care for this magnificent planet and all the people who
Thank you for your attention. I conclude with Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.